few people I found on Spotify, and just the way they delivered it too, where they almost made it seem cheesy. They'd be like, and then take another breath. Oh, it's a breath. And you're like, come on, treat me like an adult.
Totally.
So, yeah.
How did you come across Tara?
I think through simple Google searching. I think I was just looking for like guided meditation practice and came to her page. So, yeah.
Right on. I'm going to put that in my bookmark and take a look at it. Right now I use Oak meditation and breathing app. And
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I forget where someone had mentioned it somewhere. It's a free one. It has some like pay-per-view courses, but I really like it because it has a guided, and then I'm super big on like a metta or loving kindness. So it has one of those, and then it has an unguided one as well, and then it also does like a deep calm breathing exercise. It does box breathing, and then it has one for like awakening. The main reason why I stuck with this one is because it logs your hours of meditation and the amount of sessions, and then it also keeps track your streak. Right now, I'm almost at 60 hours with this app of meditation, and
wow,
I've got 211 sessions, and my longest streak has been 66 in a row.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it turns it into a little bit of a competition for me. And when I broke that streak at 66, I was so upset with myself, and I get like a dozen, maybe 15, and then out the door to go to a race, or I'm crewing for someone, and it's like, I'll get to that middle of the day, and I just never get to it. So since then I've been starting over periodically every like anywhere from 10 to 15 in a row. I really like this one, but I'm going to check out the one that you recommended and see how that is, because like we were saying, the voice, and even though you're listening to it through a set of headphones or whatever, there's you pick up on a vibe or an energy, and it's just like a book on tape. There's been plenty that I just have never gotten through because I couldn't get into the person that was reading it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes a big difference for me. I was just going to say, like, with breaking your streak or with not getting a day, I think to me sometimes that's something that people kind of get wrong, in my opinion, about it. I certainly try and do it every day, but I also try not to beat myself up for it if I miss a day, because it's one of those things that you're just doing it for you. And I think you and I are probably wired differently, where you're like the ultra competitive athlete and it's all about the streak and all of those types of things. But, I think sometimes people get intimidated by meditation because they feel like they're doing it wrong, or they feel like they have to do it every day, or whatever that might be. And I would just encourage anyone listening to give it a shot, and that doesn't even have to be something you do every day. You can do it, as much as you want. But I think the more anyone starts to do it, the more they will want to do it every day, and realizing that there really isn't a way that you could be doing it wrong. It's all about just kind of practice and acceptance and love, and it really leads you down a good path no matter what. So, I just didn't want to scare anyone off if they didn't want to be winning 100-mile races like you, Mr. Airey.
No, I believe me, I don't get competitive with it, and since I've broken that streak of 66, a lot of the days that I've missed have been when I've been out on the trail for extended periods of time. And again, it took me through like my first cycle way back when, in say like 2012, 2013, when I first got into meditating in preparation for some ayahuasca ceremonies, where Jimmy had a copy of Be Here Now, and I started reading that. And that's when I first realized that anything that you do that's mindful is meditation. And that's when I first kind of realized that, like, I can go out on the trail for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many hours, and that can be a meditative practice. What I found now is with the meditation practice, it helps when I'm out on the trail to get into those mindful, you kind of be here now and be in the moment and just experience life and movement on the trail. So, I definitely don't think it's I'm not that competitive with it. It's like, I got to do this every day. But I find that the more that I do it when I sit in stillness, the more it helps, like you were mentioning, like in social situations, or in times where you're at the airport and they lost your luggage or something, whatever it may be. It just helps remind me to breathe and be in the moment and realize that I have everything I need for right here in this moment, and the future doesn't exist and the past has already happened, so let's just be here.
Well said. I find some of the more meditative times to be out walking with the dog. Our apartment in Portland is located near Mount Tabor, which is kind of a big open forested green space with some nice hiking and running trails and like good biking access roads and all those kinds of things. So I feel like I can escape the city with a 10-minute walk away, and I'm out there every day with the dog, and one of those areas where it just really feels like I can kind of unwind, and even without intentionally meditating, it just feels like you're in the moment and feel some of those stresses walk away. So yeah, you know, getting outside, it's one of those very, very underrated qualities of mental and physical health. I think that you got to do it every day or as much as you can. And just like meditation, I think it'll start to positively affect those other areas of your life.
Yeah. That's why we call it a practice.
Exactly.
So a couple quick more things here for you, and then we'll let you get out of here. We really appreciate your time. You know, this is the moment.
Of course.
I've enjoyed all of this, but I've definitely been waiting for this one. When we first met back in 2015, it was over a love of music, particularly or specifically house music and dance music. And then shortly thereafter that, maybe the second or third time we hung out, you had this unbelievable DJ set up in your spare bedroom in your place.
Yeah.
So I guess three things here. Have you been producing or putting together some tracks for us? Are we going to see any more episodes of Four on the Floor?
Oh yeah, you know it. I'm switching, maybe not retire, but I'm going to call my next mix Funk Too Hot for Your Rump, Volume 1. And I've been kind of curating this sound of kind of harder disco into techno, and then into just kind of harder techno. But yeah, I mean, it's just a passion of mine. I haven't had equipment for a while, but luckily I have a few friends that DJ, and, you know, I can escape to their house every so often and get some practice in. Actually, last Sunday, a few friends invited me to come participate with them at a little bar in Portland on Sunday afternoon, and got to play some tracks. So it feels good to be kind of getting out there again. And I definitely got to do it quite a bit in Quito through Ryan's Pubs, which was just a blast. The only reason it's been such a delay on the next mix is that I don't own equipment anymore. So I've learned Tractor, and I've been mixing on an S4 instead of on Pioneer equipment with Serato, which I had kind of been used to. So that just presented its own set of challenges. I mean, just like anything else, DJing ends up being a lot of muscle memory with your equipment, and I felt pretty clunky on new equipment with new software for a while. It took me quite a few hours of getting into it to feel like I could get the hang of things. So now that I'm there, I just need to carve out a couple hours and actually go record the mix. But I have the whole thing ready front to back, so I'm excited to put it out.
Are there any tracks on that mix coming up that we should check out?
Yeah. Let's see. One that I heard at a concert we went to on New Year's a few years back that has really stuck with me. Let me find it. Well, let's see. I'll do that one last. For some other tracks to check out, there's two artists I've been listening to a lot lately. One is called Channel Trace. He's a producer, rapper, produces and raps on his own stuff, and it's sort of this really interesting mix blend between like hip-hop and house. And I just think he's one of the cooler people on the scene right now. And then the other one, I'm going to have to spell her name for you, is Charlotte Adigeri. So first name Charlotte as you would normally spell it, and then Adigeri, Adige with an accent, R-Y. And she has a song called Pateni Pat, which just absolutely thumps. And it's at this, 110 beats per minute tempo that I just absolutely love. I like to start mixes close to like 100 beats per minute and work my way up towards more of the traditional techno, 118 to 125, anywhere in that range. But she also sings on her own productions and is just making really, really interesting sounding stuff. So she's a great artist to check out.
What was the first one you mentioned?
Channel Trace.
Okay, I didn't have my pen ready. Cool.
I got an artist for you real quick, sir.
Yeah, please.
A future podcast guest. He's actually going to do a set for us. His name is Just Connor. The genre is considered wave. I consider it like very matrixy, Tron-y, with some drum and bass in there, but it's definitely good. Good friend of the show. So check out Just Connor and check out Noah B. That's who Just Connor produces for. Same kind of genre. Check those two out. I think you'll like them.
Nice. I definitely will. I'm always curious when I hear new genres thrown out there. I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah, we kind of tried to get him what is wave, and he just kind of kept on telling us it's the group of people. It's a collective. It's not so much what it sounds like, but it definitely has a distinct sound.
Gotcha. Nice. And then the next one is a track called Power to the People, and the artist is Pardon Moi, so like pardon me, but the French moi. And then it's the Damon G, J-E-E remix of that song, which is one in my mix that'll be coming out that is kind of at the apex of the mix, so to speak. And I heard that one on New Year's a couple years ago and really inspired kind of this whole new direction of sound for me. So that one is an excellent track.
Sweet. Are you into Fisher at all?
Rank, I have moved away from most tech house. I pretty much have been listening to disco and techno. And like when I say listening to, for some reason, like I go through and listen to a lot of electronic music with just the ear of finding stuff for the mix that I'm working on. And that kind of presents its own challenges for me because I feel like I get these blinders on and I ignore a lot of other electronic music. But I just get really into like one sound that I want to keep finding. I just completely stopped listening to like all tech house and Dirty Bird. I still follow the label, but yeah, I mean, one of the original inspirations for me was Claude Von Stroke and then Justin Martin, and I know those guys still throw a hell of a party. So
yeah, I was just curious. He seems to have blown up the last year or so, and he's just got a kind of cool, interesting story as being a former professional surfer. So that's I have a lot of friends back home that are into the surf scene, and so that was how he kind of came into my notoriety. And I know he's done a couple tracks for Dirty Bird.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know his backstory at all, but that's awesome that he was a pro surfer.
Yeah.
All right, I did put together 5 house tracks that I think could be considered my greatest of all time.
Lay it on me. Yeah, lay it on me.
I feel like you have to start with Daft Punk, and for me, my favorite Daft Punk song is Something About Us, kind of one of the slower disco-y Daft Punk songs. And then Percolator by Kashmir,
yes.
One of the all-time great tracks that's been remixed just over and over, but somehow never gets old. And then, another group that just continues to be, I think, one of the most inspirational things happening in electronic music are the Chemical Brothers. I went and saw their latest tour that they just did for their new album in San Francisco several months back, and they just continue to push the boundaries on sound engineering, audio-visual incorporation, and the performance they put on is just unbelievable. So Galvanize is my all-time favorite Chemical Brothers song.
Yes.
With Q-Tip. And they put on this show that is, even if you don't appreciate or kind of understand rave culture or electronic music culture, we saw a dad with his 10-year-old son there. It's a spectacle, and it's truly this visual representation of their sound that I don't think anyone has really ever replicated. And then Book of Shade,